right. Welcome, everyone. It's a very, very, very special episode. I'm Dr. Scott.
And I'm Dr. Shiloh.
And this is LA Not So Confidential, the forensic psychology and true crime podcast.
Each episode, we explore the intersection of psychology, the criminal justice system, and entertainment.
And today is a very special episode, not like an after-school special, but today is our 200th episode celebration and like slack-jawed, wide-eyed, what the hell? How did we do this? This is crazy, right?
Yes. I'm laughing because Scott didn't get the link for this. I have wires coming out of my headphones because after nearly 8 freaking years, I didn't charge my headphones. Just, it's us.
Just our regular stuff, the way we go down. This is the way we roll.
This is us. Yeah, for sure. Oh my gosh. This is so wild to reflect on this. Thanks, guys, for being here for an impromptu 200th episode. Real quick to just get this out of the way, let's do our last episode recap. So in our last episode, we chatted with the incredible women behind Rebel Tours out of London. And I had attended their Jack the Ripper tour called What About the Women last year when we went to CrimeCon. And so we just knew we had to have them on Behind the Couch. We discussed their empathetic and feminist approach to the historical events within the realm of, also talking about ethical true crime tourism and history. So what we did, because this is our 200th, we ended up labeling that episode a bonus just to make the numbers work. But moving forward, our Behind the Couch episodes for the year, for the month, will be regular numbered episodes. So I just wanted to let you guys know what to expect, because here we told you what we're going to do. And then it was like bonus, but we had to figure out something to make this the 200th.
Yeah, it is a milestone on many levels for us. So many things to talk about. I mean, it's an achievement for anybody that's in content creation, who's brave enough to try and, put your stuff out there and see how the world reacts. And if you have a voice, and I don't think we had the idea that we'd be around this long and doing as much as we have. It kind of crept up on us, really.
It's weird. I mean, I can think back to that first recording in your apartment. And I think on our Instagram, we just took a selfie afterwards and we were like, we think we just recorded our first episode. I don't know if I had any idea of what the hell this would be. And it's been pleasantly surprising and wonderful. And we want to do just start off with a little bit of a retrospective, a little look back. And we can't possibly list everything that these last 7+ years have brought us and brought you. But we thought it would be kind of fun to start off by looking backwards. We do have some guests that are going to then pop in about 25 minutes or so. And then we're going to answer some questions, some Q&A, read some feedback from you guys that you told us, favorite episodes, favorite moments, things like that. And if you want to add those in the chat, we will do our best to monitor that as well if you have something that you want to just add live.
Absolutely. I want to do something that I haven't really talked about much before. Getting started with this, there was certainly true crime content has winnowed down over the last few years. And it's really kind of amazing that we've managed to stay afloat. I mean, we're very much a niche podcast. We get very academic at times. We want people to be educated, and we want you to know about what's going on and enjoy it, right? But we had a pretty small listener base, really, for probably the first 6 months. And then a dear friend of mine from college that I was able to reconnect with over Facebook over the last decade or so, who is a true crime fan, mentioned us on a Reddit discussion board. And that's when we blew up to the extent that we did. Literally within a couple of weeks, all of our episodes were just being listened to and listened to and listened to. So Noelle, thank you so much for that, because you were the one that just happened to drop it in a discussion, and that comment didn't get banned, I guess. And it led to this. So yeah, this is really exciting that in 7.5 years, here we are,
Yeah.
you know,
And
doing this.
blew up is relative, and we know that. And blew up for us,
Blew up for us,
when
right,
just,
right.
it was just kind of a push to get us on the radar of other people that decided to stick around because they liked our stuff. So yeah, definitely an interesting moment to look back on too. So how should we do this? Just kind of talk year by year?
Yeah, let's talk about it. Let's start off in 2017, which like I can't believe
Oh
that
my God.
it's that long ago now.
Can we just go
Um,
back? Like
let's go
the
back.
good old days
Oh boy,
before we knew
that's
anything.
the good old days, right?
Right?
The salad days. We started in October because we recorded our first episode on September 23rd, 2017, like you were
Yeah.
saying, at my old apartment. And we interviewed our first guest in 2017, very close to that first episode. We were over at our friend Justin Neese's apartment, which was because we didn't know what we were doing. How do we interview somebody? We had no equipment. We found this wonderful young filmmaker and audio specialist, great guy. And he set us up with Jen Haley, a really brilliantly talented writer who worked on Mindhunter and has done, many other things, including writing an award-winning play that everybody should still read to this day.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if people remember like that first year, like not calendar year, but first year. I mean, we have had 4 guests on this show, 200 episodes, right? Not including the behind the couch stuff, but on the main episodes, we've had 4 guests, and Jen was our very first one when we were still, I think, trying to figure out what the heck are we doing here. And you had made the connection through our friend Deb, who was in this writing group with Jen.
Yeah.
And we were like, oh my God, Mindhunter is the best thing ever. Of course, our audience would want to hear from her. So that's how that just kind of popped up. And we interviewed a few other folks,
including your connection with Jim Fitzgerald.
Yeah. Retired FBI agent Jim Fitzgerald. And then had Al, our friend, on to talk about The Exorcist when we got into the kind of our first meaty entertainment episode, little crossover episode. And then Harry, when we talked about negotiations. So
yeah,
I realized pretty early, like I did not love doing interviewing in those early days. I felt very unskilled at it.
Really?
And I was like, I don't love this. I absolutely love like our casual behind the couch situations. That's super fun. I don't know. Maybe I just took the pressure off myself at that point.
Yeah, it seems like it, because I don't think it's any different. I think they do come off as casual conversations, but we approach them like interviews because we want to get the information out of these wonderful experts and individuals who give their time to us. And then, we moved on to 2018. We recorded our first crossover episode with Hollyweird Paranormal, which was great. I went to a writing event with my friend David, who invented me. His daughter invited me, and his daughter couldn't go. And it was like this really great Publishers Award ceremony in Beverly Hills. And Karen and Georgia were there from My Favorite Murder. And I just thought, what the hell? I'm going to go introduce myself to them. So I went and introduced myself to them, and they were absolutely lovely. And then there was this weird moment that is totally not them, because they're awesome. But I thought that they were leaving to walk to their cars, and it was like Hollywood Boulevard. No, not Hollywood. It was in Beverly Hills. But I was like, oh, do you want us to walk you to your cars? And the look on their faces completely changed.
They're like, restraining order time.
Who is this freak that says he's a forensic psychologist? He's probably a killer, whatever.
Nice.
But they were really lovely to us. And that was really cool to have kind of a starry moment with these two, icons in the true crime field.
Oh my God. Yeah. Especially 2018. Like, talk about the height. I was so jealous of that. That was such a cool moment. And then here we are, like not even doing this for a year. And Scott gets invited to be the first guest on the Ron Burgundy podcast. Now, I shall say that was handed off to us by another forensic psychologist,
Dr.
Paula Bruce.
It was wonderful,
amazing, and was like, "Oh, I'm out of town," and because she's in high demand everywhere, and was like, "Here, you can have this thing."
Now, you know what, Doc? Let me tell you something too about Dr. Bruce. Is the lady knows how to take a vacation too? Because if you see her social media, and she works her ass off. She has a thriving business, but I'll see her taking a vacation. I go, I need to take a vacation. That's I want to be like Dr. Bruce.
Yeah, no kidding. But that was such a treat, Scott. They were only going to have one forensic psychologist on. And I was like, oh my God, you do it. Like, I can't. I'm terrified. That is like to sit across the table from Will Ferrell. I don't know. I wouldn't be able to think, but they allowed me to be in the sound room while Scott was doing his thing. And it was the best experience.
It felt
What was
very
it like?
Hollywood. It
What
felt like
was it like though? Because he's in character as Ron Burgundy,
right,
but he's
but
not
remember
like dressed up as him.
he was not in dress, but like beforehand, meeting him was just great. I mean, he was like absolutely
so
kind.
sweet.
The entire production staff is like, oh my God, I want to work here. They just all seem so happy. And I told them going in, like they were asking me questions about like what the show entailed. And I said, look, if you're expecting me to be able to not giggle, I'm like, forget it. You need to find somebody else because I think he's a genius and I'm going to fall apart. But it was great fun. We really appreciated that opportunity.
Yeah.
That was also when we started recording in a police interrogation room that I had access to. Yeah, that was the year that we did that because the sound quality was so much better than my apartment. And, you know, because it has all these like kind of soundproofing.
Yeah.
And we started.
And we could just do it after work. And which were very long days. I'm like, how the heck did we do that after working full days at work? But I also wasn't having to like drive to your apartment and then drive home. So it was better. But yeah, that was very nice for Mr. Lieutenant Bixler to allow us to do that.
Yeah, that was very kind of him. Yeah.
And then from there, like, I feel like it just was like flying by the seat of our pants, really, because 2019 then brought our first festival, True Crime Podcast Festival in Chicago. And the wonderful thing about Laney's festival is that they don't care how small of a podcast you are. It's like, you have a table, you can be here, you can be included. You don't have to have this giant following. And this is going to sound so cheesy. It ended up being life-changing in a way, one for the podcast, but also the friends that we made that are just absolute staples in our life right now.
Well, and also let me qualify something that you said is like, yes, Laney and all of her team are so great and they don't care about what your following is, but they do care about quality. So the idea that we were considered to be in that level of quality just really meant a lot to us and continues to this day.
Yeah, we'll save it for a couple of our guests, but this was the first time we met some people, like I said, that became really important people in our lives. And what a beautiful thing to look back on that, you know, we crossed paths in this way. But it was also our first presentation. I mean, they took a chance on us talking to their audience with Nick and Jessa and how
people that, you know, two
amazing.
Wonderful people that we had one conversation with, like one real conversation. We had texted, chatted, email, but then one phone conversation. We meet them at the bar the night before. And then the next day it was like, I felt like we had been doing presentations with them for years. The flow was so good. And we got commentary on like, how long have you known each other? We're like, literally just met.
So Nick and Jessa, the Getting Off podcast, if you guys were listeners, if you remember it, they're defense attorneys from the Midwest at the time. I think one or both of them has moved, but yeah, their podcast was like the lawyer version of us, the defense attorney version of us, really. So it was an awesome match. That was when we did our Mary Kay Letourneau case, and Scott was terrified that Mary Kay Letourneau's mom was in the audience. I know you guys have heard that story.
Paranoia came through that was so strange because this woman was brought in by a caregiver. She was in a wheelchair. And I just got this wild thought of like, oh my God, what if they like, this is an angry relative or something. It was, but they weren't. And also we had such an incredibly receptive audience that stayed through the lunch break because there were so many questions they had.
That's
so like, that was another sort of like kind of watershed moment, I believe, for us as content creators to realize, oh, wow, there are people that really respond to this type of quality, this type of discussion, and really dissecting the information. That was a great experience.
And we got to share a table with Dr. Amy, Women in Crime, Direct Appeal, and also another friend and the Champagne Girls. We got to meet them.
They're so great.
Death by Champagne, which we still chat on social media So, yeah, we did that. We came home. We were invited to do Pasadena Lit Fest. So, Frank Gerardo, author, reached out to us. We had covered his book on one of our episodes on arson and pyromania, which we just talked about in our shrink wrap, and got to do that panel and met Steve Hodel. We met Carrie Martin. And that was also just something that was, I don't know, kind of a big moment to be asked to do that and talk about true crime podcasting. But also meeting those folks was pretty awesome.
Again, just more connections that you would, how would you ever encounter these people, to share this kind of knowledge, this kind of information? It's pretty great.
Yeah. And then I think that same year, and Rebecca, we'll have to laugh about this with Rebecca, but we always talk about how like we met at True Crime Podcast Festival and literally within months, we had a live show planned in Silver Lake here in LA. And she was staying at my house. We were like, this goes against like every true crime thing that we know. I barely know you, come stay at my house. Yeah. But obviously it worked out fine. Was that the year we did our first meetup at Halloween Horror Nights?
Yes.
City Walk as well. Very cool. Yeah. 2019 was like a whirlwind for sure for the show.
Yeah. Then that was when you also came up with the really great idea of dabbling in vintage crimes. I mean, we had kind of talked about it, but then you fleshed it out more. And I think that was also the year that Dan, my husband, for either my birthday or for Christmas or something, gave me like this incredible book published in the 1950s, all about crimes from 1910 up into the 50s. And each chapter was a different one. And we literally went through that book, and used them as like the foundation for additional research for these different crimes.
Do you remember the name of that book? My colleague was asking me today what it was. We were at the LAPD museum today, and he's like, what's that book that you and Dr. Scott pulled some of your cases from?
It's on the coffee table. I'll send you a picture of it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Perfect. One of our many resources, which we have a question in our Q&A about the resources we use, which could be a whole episode in and of itself. But
exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So we have about 10 minutes probably till we're expecting our first guest. So I just want to kind of talk about like post 2019 and into the year of 2020. Gosh, we almost did another podcast. You guys don't know this, but we were.
Yeah, I think it's probably safe to talk about it now.
Yeah, I mean, 2020 killed it. So you can, it's been a while. It's been, going on 5 years now, but essentially we got approached by a huge major production company to do this really cool idea. I mean, Scott and I have had a lot of things thrown at us as other ideas to do in terms of like other shows or adapting this into a television show. And honestly, not much felt interesting or great. And yeah, tell them what the concept was of this. And we actually recorded a pilot.
Yeah, and let me not, I definitely don't want to bury the connection there. My really dear friend Michelle Zeitlin, that I was a performer with and a co-choreographer with years and years and years ago, is just a dynamo of a producer and manager here in Hollywood. And she had listened to the show and she came to our live event with Rebecca.
Yes.
And she just said, like, I'm going to keep my ear out. If anything pops up, is it okay if I pitch you guys? So she made a connection with our other friend, Cerise, who is a producer on the new Unsolved Mysteries, which had started around that time. And they got us a meeting at NBC, which was really pushing a podcast channel at that time. And we didn't come up with the final idea. We just kind of pitched ourselves and like what we had to offer. And the executive actually was really helpful. And she really helped us shape the idea. And it was, without going into too much, I thought it was like a really great idea because it was kind of engaging audience interaction where it's two forensic psychologists that are basically a cross between interviewing, evaluating, and interrogating a serial killer. And, we had sound effects in it as if you're in a room, you're hearing us and we're asking questions, but we're also giving sort of explication of what's going on or exposition. And then we also used like a really wonderful young man, as a voiceover artist to record some of the killer's actual dialogue from interviews.
Mm-hmm.
And it was all going to be like, who am I? It's basically who is the killer, or name the killer. And
So
I
at
mean,
the
it was,
end, the audience has to decide who it is that we're talking to based on this interview. Yeah.
yeah. And unfortunately, COVID shut everything down. Like it just there was a big shakeup at NBC. There was restructuring, which I tried my best to prepare everybody for. It's like, oh, this is Hollywood. This is the way things go. Is like, don't get too attached to any of your projects because they can just disappear. Just you keep moving, you keep swimming, you keep grinding, and you have another idea in your back pocket. So other opportunities came up for us. Yeah.
If we had done 2 podcasts.
Well, that would have given us a whole staff too. Like, we would have.
Yeah, that's true.
The amount of work would have been a lot less, I think.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Then we moved into, the days of COVID, which obviously perpetuated a lot of live streaming and reaching our audience that way. And the good old Get Vocal days, our first guest will be able to tell us about that because I think they kind of got us into it. But I remember the very first or second episode was the night of the civil unrest after George Floyd's death.
Right.
And it was such a surreal moment to kind of be just like in it and living it with our audience live. It was really interesting. But I mean, the rest of that year, we got freaking knee deep into QAnon. Just what a bananas time.
Yeah, I mean, we just really moving on from then as our, I think there wasn't a lot of time for socialization or wasn't an opportunity during COVID. So we hunkered down and we started recording remotely, both in our different locations. So we did, I thought what was like we got a lot of feedback on our episode about stolen valor. I mean, just really opened our eyes to the phenomenon. Yeah. Overprotected is another one that really touched a nerve with a lot of people. It was about the quote unquote conservatorship or guardianship about the Britney Spears case. And that was something that was going on, which is not something we really always do. We don't necessarily always talk about things that are happening in the moment because we're both still so tied into our attachment or our connection with law enforcement and public services. Which is kind of wild, right? That I did that so long ago because I had just gotten into it. And now the transition to my new position for the agency I work for is all about conservatorship. So that was wild.
We also did our first walking tour for Patreon members in downtown Los Angeles with Chris from LA in a Day, which was so much fun. That was a really cool one. One of 2 that we did. We had another meetup at Halloween Horror Nights. I think that's the year we lost Sookie on our ride.
Oh my God, that was so
we almost lost a Patreon member.
We lost her on the Harry Potter ride, and she was in the car next to us, and then suddenly it's like, where's Sookie? I mean, it was
magically
really kind of freaky.
Disappeared and reappeared. Thank God.
We found her. We did find her.
Yes.
But then we really went through also with the idea that you came up with of alternating our vintage LA crime so that we could go back and forth and offer, a real like things that were more current versus things that were much farther in the past.
Yep. And then, I mean, don't know how we did this, but 2022, we hit our 100th episode that year, which was just like a very serious topic. We covered the epic topic of school shootings, which I stand by is one of, I think, my favorite episodes in the sense of like the timing and the research that was coming out and the information that we finally knew was just, it stands out for me as one of our best episodes. But we also, and not in this order probably, but Pacific Northwest Festival, which has not happened again. It might happen again in the future. Hands down, one of our favorites. We presented at the California Hostage Negotiators Conference. We did our incel presentation to about 500 negotiators. Yeah. I went to Savannah Crime Expo, got to sit next to these knuckleheads, Tim and Lance. We had tables together. We had a very fun time laughing at everything. We did True Crime Podcast Festival in Dallas that year, which was always a blast. And then we had a table, the one and only time we've had a table at CrimeCon here in the US in Vegas post-COVID was also just a wild experience.
Yeah. Another walking tour as well with our favorite
Mhm.
tour guide down in downtown LA. And then we had a great article from Podcast Magazine that centered on
Yeah.
what we do. It's pretty great.
Yeah. Yeah. And since then, 2023, we did our own live show at Heritage Square Museum with two of our besties, Tammy and Bryce of Hollywood Paranormal, and of course, Dan and Greg from LA Meekly, and broke down one case from a crime, historical, and paranormal lens. I thought it worked really well. It was sold out. It was a blast. It was a lot of work, a lot of work that we did ourselves, but totally worth it.
Yeah, it was a lot of like scramble and jerry rig things. I mean, it was, but it was also in like a wonderful museum setting in a gorgeous falling apart church that hopefully people are donating money to this wonderful museum so they
Yes.
can restore it. It was pretty cool.
We also did CrimeCon UK for the first time in 2023. And can't forget Parapod Festival.
That was wild.
Oh man, Scott and I with our doctorates diagnosing everyone at the Parapod Fest was good times.
Good times.
And did a couple things last year too.
Yeah, we went to CrimeCon UK again for another wonderful opportunity to present. Again, probably, I mean, up there is the top 3 places we would go and present again, really, just because it's such a specialized audience. And then had a wonderful follow-up to that. I mean, God, that we were so busy last fall because we went right from CrimeCon UK into the Berkshires Podcast Festival with Josh Hallmark, which was like really well organized. Like there is just like he and his staff just outdid themselves for the quality and organization of that. You know, it was a 1-day event with a couple of capping things on either side. A lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure. And you guys will be very proud of us. We have not one commitment this year to anything. Well, except for something we're going to host, but we'll tell you about that later. But we haven't committed to any festivals. We're going to see what we feel like. We got I have a lot of travel planned already. We have a friend getting married. I have a family member getting married. Already some travel in the works. So we will see what pops up. But speaking of popping up, let's see if our first guest is ready. Oh my God, It's our dad. It's the man that made us.
Daddy.
Hello.
But not in a weird way.
Congratulations, Scott and Shiloh.
Thank you.
Thank you. How is it going? It's going well. Here we are. Do you remember the first time we met?
I do. Yes. How could I forget?
I was like, oh my God, that's that crawl space guy with the blazer and the satchel.
I came right
stylish.
over to you guys because I was listening to you guys on the way, I think, to Chicago for that fest. And
awesome.
I was really excited to meet you guys. So I think you were the first people that I went right over to coming down for that festival.
So at that time, 2019, like kind of where was Crawl Space at that time? Like what were you and Lancey Grace doing with it? Like, and what was your vision?
Yeah, I don't know. Good question. I don't know. We started podcasting in true crime, doing Missing Maura Murray in 2015, and that led to a docu-series on the disappearance of Maura Murray that ran on Oxygen in 2017. So we were working on that case mostly through those first few years, and then we launched Crawl Space in 2017 and started kind of branching out a little bit, more cases, just other kinds of interests as well. So and I think we were right around the time where we were like, well, we're meeting so many fun people that we really like, and we're sort of like accidentally networking. Like we really didn't intentionally do that. It was just we liked people and we liked their show and would talk to people at festivals like you guys. And it's like, let's kind of band together a little bit, try to slay this dragon together. because podcasting is a crazy industry, as you guys
Isn't
know.
Isn't it?
Oh my God.
Yeah, there's so many personalities, and like I was saying earlier, a lot of shows have come and gone. It doesn't, just because something's gone after just a couple of seasons doesn't mean that it's not super high quality. But I do think that it says something about your longevity and the way you guys continue to create and evolve over a decade. That's wild. That's just wild.
Well, I'm impressed with you guys, and you guys are almost at a decade yourselves. And
we're getting there. Yeah, Scott and I are, I don't know, like we've said, like we cannot do this longer than 10 years. We don't know what it looks like, but we're not doing this longer than 10 years.
Yes,
so maybe we're on the countdown.
Why not? What's the harm?
I
was going to say we laugh about the fact that we'll never run out of ideas. I mean, there's just like there's something every time we turn around. There's another, like, here's a bizarre sub category of a mental health issue that is completely related to this crime. Let's get on it.
Yeah.
Well,
it's always news that you guys can add your insight to.
Well, and I wouldn't mind if we back away from this at some point. Well, we will, but when we do, I'm sure you would. But we have built, like with yourself, such a network. Sometimes we feel like, is there a podcast that has not had us speak to something in terms of like forensic psychology and psychological aspects of crime? But yeah, of course there is. But we will always be available for all of our friends and anyone who wants us on to give our 2 cents.
Yeah.
Obviously, that would be the sweet spot where we don't have to do any real work. We'll just guest on everyone else's shows. But yeah, who knows what that will look like. But I mean, you're so kind to approach us and ask us to be part of the network that we were like, oh my God, this feels like a natural next step for us. And it really, like, the shows that you curated felt like family, and it was just a perfect fit for us. So thank you so much, you and Lance, for thinking of us in that way, bringing us in.
Well, thank you guys. Yeah, you guys had such, I don't know, you're great people, great friends, and really your show adds credibility to the network and, whatever we're really trying to build, with all this stuff.
Yeah. Well,
so
and
what do you,
oh, sorry,
what
go ahead,
would you
Scott.
say is, what has contributed to, how have you and Lance done it? I mean, like, I know that there's probably been a lot of dark nights of the soul and conversations, but if you looking back over a decade, what is the most important thing about longevity? What's the secret?
Ride that wave. I mean, I don't know. Like it is really like seesaw or like turbulent ocean kind of industry right now still. And if you're trying to do it full time, it is really like crazy in that way. So I think staying together, like, like your team, sticking together, trust. And, like, as, we've grown apart as, I guess, people a little bit, as I've grown a family in the past decade, and we live, a 90-minute drive or something away, but we still have the same interests and still have the same chemistry in podcasting and things like that, even if we don't see each other all that often anymore. Yeah.
I mean, you're in the same boat as us. We are constantly saying, thank God we're doing this with someone else. Like who the people that do podcasts alone, I get the perks to that, but man, for the roller coaster moments, for, the waves, it's really nice to have someone to ride that with. And I'm glad you and Lance have had each other, for all of that. And it's special to be able to do something like this with your best friend. I mean, I tell that to Scott all the time, like how many people get to have a creative project like this for years where, sometimes he and I are talking to each other more than we're talking to our spouses because the other hours of the week, we're at work or whatever. So it's incredibly special. And what an interesting medium to kind of give us this opportunity.
There's been so many times when we've been recording and she's like, oh my God, I think I'm starving my kid. I have to go feed my child or you're going to call DCFS on me.
I have to go be a mom and forget.
Damn it.
But we also joke like about, you know, our years long text thread. And I'm also like thinking back to you, me, Scott, and Lance have some really good text threads too over the years.
Yeah.
Or the times that we've texted you and we've been like, hey guys, can we schedule a call with you? Like we have this concern and you're always so lovely. We're like, are we overreacting? Are we being stupid that we're going to bring this up? And you guys are always just like so sweet and gracious to anything these crazy psychologists have to say.
I have to say also just like, I mean, it's funny because like there's so much that what our listeners are listening to right now is us not being able to talk about something that's really, really huge. And when Shiloh and I were trying to figure out and navigate our way through it, we reached out to you both and you were so great. You know, you were just so great. Like we got off the call after all of us venting and sharing our frustrations and realizing that we were all on the same page.
Yeah.
And it was just such a relief. Like, and then, oh my God, this is the thing though, Tim, what you didn't have is you didn't see my narcissistic extension rage, which means I was angry. Like I had been not treated well, but when I realized how badly you guys had been treated, I was like, I think I'm going to lose my license because I'm probably going to go on a spree right now. I'm so angry that this happened to two people that we admire and care about so much. Yeah. But thank you for being a great landing space for us. We just really appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for over the years for all your insight and your entertainment and friendship. And yeah, we got to have you guys back on our show now that it's back up and running regularly.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So before you go, what are you and Lance up to these days? You can just kind of catch our audience up to speed.
You know what? There's been more twists and turns in the past few months. It might be crazier than what's happened.
Okay, we need to schedule a call.
Last year, we really do. It's wild.
Okay.
Yeah, we're back to
Crawl Space and Missing, or just Crawl Space right now, or what?
Crawl Space and Missing. Yeah, Crawl Space was doing a thing where we were airing other. I don't know. Anyway, we'll do that on the call.
Yeah, let's do it.
Copy that.
Crawl Space and Missing. Yeah, we're doing those regularly now. Yeah,
awesome.
It's good stuff.
Thank you for making time for us, Tim.
Congratulations. Yeah,
thank you so much. All right. Take care. Bye.
See you later. Bye.
All right. Who do we have next? Oh my God. Stop it.
Oh.
Hi, Rebecca.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
I miss you.
Not me getting emotional in the waiting room.
Stop.
Not kidding. That was a little nostalgic ride. I just got like, I just remembered things I'd forgotten. I'm like, rest in peace to all the projects that I was going to do in 2020.
Right?
I mean, what a ride. But like, it's been really fun hearing you guys reminisce, and it's so good to see your faces.
Oh, so good to see you too. And our three faces and my short hair. And
here, let me scooch over.
Oh my God. That's 2019, you guys.
That's
2019,
live event, right?
That was where we met, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's True Crime Podcast Festival, right? That's not live event.
That's Chicago.
Right?
Chicago. Yeah.
Why is your hair that short? I don't remember your hair being that
I
short.
think it's so cute.
I chopped it like a year after I started my new job, and
it's funny because now my hair is like that. It's in a ponytail right now. And your hair's long like mine, but my hair's like pretty short right now.
Gosh. So my first impression, here we were going like on year 2 of our show at that festival. And I remember Rebecca, of course, like now that I know Rebecca, like in full mode of having all of her branding and all of her stuff for her show that had not even started yet.
Already done.
Here's my postcard. Here's my sticker. Here's my this. I was like, this girl is put together like, I don't even know.
Just trying, fake it till you make it.
I know. And then we just like went out to dinner that night. We had the loveliest dinner. We were all so freaking exhausted.
I know. That was a really good time.
It was. It really, what are you up to these days, lady?
Oh man. I mean, a ton. It's weird. Like, I feel like I'm actually really in real time catching you up because
True.
we don't cross paths as much, I know, as we once did. And I'm not don't love that. But I'm, so I guess a lot of people that would know both of us would probably connect me to Dialogue, which I hung up is always what I say, which is a weird way to, I don't know, which I put on hiatus that never reopened, I guess in 2022. Yeah. So that's already the end of 2022. So it's been gone for 2 years, but I didn't leave podcasting, but I did take a little break from all the concentrated true crime stuff. I think I actually really didn't know that I needed that. So, and so good to see Tim. Tim was talking about how hard it is to make a living full-time podcasting. So, I've been figuring out my work situation, and I've really come to love producing other people's podcasts.
Ooh.
And it's just been this cool development of learning something else I'm good at and something else I enjoy. And it's a different skill set. And I still love hosting, and I do host a couple shows still, but mainly what I'm doing is producing shows for clients. So there's budgets and there's money, and it's nice.
Can you talk a little bit about that? Because I actually know that several of our listeners who have reached out have asked us about, well, who is your producer? Me and Shiloh.
Yeah, you're looking at him. You're listening to him.
11 a.m. or 11 p.m.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about what this role is for you.
Yeah. So I'm sure you guys both know, but I mean, my technical skills with editing and podcasting are pretty minimal. And I know just enough to either get by or be dangerous, depending on who you ask. But a producer, it depends on the project. And I think that's a subjective term. But for me, I think it's like a project manager for a podcast. So because Dialogue, I booked all those guests, that's actually a skill a lot of people I didn't realize was such a helpful skill. So booking guests, pre-screening them, and kind of setting everything up, especially if they're somewhat high profile or, a big get, that's a big part of what I do is curating who I think will be great guests for a certain story that's being told, and then kind of following through on that. Story mapping, it depends if it's like a nonfiction or a fiction project. I've done entrepreneurial podcasts, boring podcasts, interesting podcasts. I've done all kinds of podcasts, and it's just kind of figuring out what's the story they're trying to tell and helping them bring all the pieces together. So guests, editors, a team, right? And helping the branding, because I have that marketing background. So I get to speak into that, which is really fun. Yeah. So that's what I do. You wear a lot of hats and you kind of assemble the team needed. It's like if you and Shiloh broke down all the roles you play, there's probably 10, if you were actually going to divvy up the responsibilities. It's figuring all that out and delegating and overseeing. I get to be bossy, which I realized I really like.
Another skill.
Another skill.
You're muted, Scott. I think you just.
Yeah, and get paid for it. Being bossy.
I get paid for it. It's actually my job to be bossy. And I hadn't realized how much I enjoy telling men what to do. That's cool.
Yeah. Do it for as long as you're allowed to keep doing it. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
So what shows are you currently hosting right now?
Sure. So I'm still co-hosting Criminality with the wonderful Melissa of Moms and Mysteries and Criminality. We're just down to first Fridays of every month. We both are quite booked and busy, but we are like you guys, just so close and can't imagine giving it up all the way. So we've just are we're doing this for us and our audience. And it's the pure love of creating that show together. So that every first Friday, we're still putting out new episodes. And then I created and launched a show in the fall called Thank You for Your Interest, which has nothing to do with true crime, but has to do with professional rejection. And that's coming back in March with a season 2. And I co-host that. It's been amazing and cathartic and really helpful to a lot of people. So I'm very proud of that show. So those are the 2 I'm hosting. And then I just had a show launch this week that is crime. And I think your audience would super duper love, called Devil and the Deep Blue Sea. And it's about the Satanic Panic era in America in the 1980s. And it deals with West Memphis 3. It deals with
preschool,
the McMartin preschool. And it's even going to go back in time to kind of where this all came from. and how it kind of formed politics and the church. And it's really interesting. And so that episode 1 just dropped Monday. So Devil in the Deep Blue Sea.
Okay. So that's when you're producing.
Yeah.
Okay.
You'll hear me on the trigger warning at the top.
Perfect. Oh, good. Because we all love to hear your voice for sure. Yeah. Maybe that'll inspire us, Scott, to finally do our McMartin episode we're like would be 3 different episodes.
Yeah.
That's a biggie.
It is.
So much. There's so much more information about that has come out over the years from the children. You know, the children are all now adults in their almost 40. And
right.
Lots of differing perspectives and one voice that was completely muffled the entire time. Like they refused to let him speak because he knew it was all fake.
Because it went against the narrative convenient. And that was kind of local to you guys, right? That was an LA story. That was like not Long Beach, Manhattan Beach or something.
Yes.
That's a big one. I would be excited if you guys covered that because there's a lot there. But yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't even want to attempt to try and talk about what you have meant to us for this time. One, because I don't want to like break down crying. And I'm so happy I'm going to get to see you. At least we have something on the books this year to be able to see each other, which seems really far away.
Once. I know, but maybe before that too.
I hope so. But obviously a big part of what we feel like is our journey. I mean, that picture kind of encompasses it. We're so cute and young. Look at that.
I know. So fresh and
I know.
We are not jaded there. Those are the faces of unjaded podcasters.
Before COVID aged us a decade.
For real. Seriously, we had no idea.
I mean, obviously there's just been like life has happened, but just all the weird podcast shit too that we have experienced together has been a whole book in and of itself. And
there'll be a tell-all someday. We can really spill it.
I know. But we love you so much. Thank you.
I love you guys so much. You're like my favorite takeaway from ever starting podcasting. And I don't say it enough. And I miss you guys so much. Thank you for inviting me here. Congratulations on all your success. You deserve everything and more. And I love you so much.
Love you too.
Thank you for the inspiration.
See you later, Bex.
We'll see you later. Bye.
Bye. This is geez. I'm gonna start crying, John Lorden. Hi.
Hello.
Look at that handsome man. Look at him.
Can you guys see me okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
On my end, I look like I'm claymation or AI or something. Like I'm all.
You are.
The video's a little bit choppy, but the audio is great.
Okay.
No,
good.
It might do its thing in a second here. So, hi, John.
Hi, guys. How you been?
Good. We've been good working. Obviously, here we are. I mean, I know 200 episodes is like nothing to some other show. Not nothing, but well.
200 is something. 200 is something. That's a lot of work, a lot of dedication, coming back to it time and time again. And I have the luxury of this is the only thing I do. So, you guys.
Yes, says the man who runs half of the shows on YouTube. 200 is big. Okay, I'll take it.
Yeah, but no, you guys are in the field helping people in real life. And that was part of the change that I welcomed in terms of seeing you guys and that I really appreciated was we're finally having field experts move into this space and share their knowledge. And that was such an important change for podcasts, for true crime. And unfortunately, I think we've kind of moved away from that a little bit again. It's like an arm wrestling match,
Yeah, it's been interesting to see that because I think you're right. Like kind of when Scott and I had this idea to do it, obviously true crime was nothing new. And that was our consideration. Like, okay, like everyone, is it too saturated? But what can we add? And we didn't think anyone was lending a voice in our area. But then, you kind of had this wave of professionals, mostly retired, because they're not insane like we are. But retired folks lending their voices. And I thought that was a big shift for true crime. Like kind of that was happening around the time of like letting victims' voices lead as well, which was really interesting to see.
Are you guys aware of Advocacy Con? at all?
No,
Yes.
I'm not.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah,
Are you-
I'll be joining that. It's their first year ever, and it's kind of aimed for that, figuring out the part of true crime that could be helpful to people and trying to get those families together with the right resources. So yeah, I'm really
instead
proud
of
that,
getting lost in the, entertainment piece of it.
Or lost in re-traumatization of, people clamoring, please be on my show. Please let me interview you. This, poor family or survivor that has just been through so much.
Absolutely.
I love that that's being done.
Yeah. And it's weird because sometimes you'll have a family that goes to a particular creator and, pours their heart out, and they don't know the difference between an LA Not So Confidential or some other type of show.
Mm-hmm.
And they might hit an audience of a few hundred people. And then, that story doesn't get picked up because other people are looking at it and they're like, oh, they've already been on that podcast. I'm going to sit on it for a while.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's always a tough dance on that.
Well, and speaking of tough dances, one of the things that, we've never talked about publicly that I know Scott and I are most proud of is the collaboration that the three of us did behind the scenes, where you approached us and said, hey, this is heavy stuff that we talk about and that we research and that we do. I really think there's a need to support other true crime content creators in a way that hasn't been done before. And essentially we brainstormed, and I think we did it the right way, in which we ended up creating a support group for content creators that met once a month. And I can't think of, many other things that I've done in content creation that has felt as directly like giving back and doing something really important. It was just like at a different level that I think other people hadn't thought about before. And here Scott and I are saturated in vicarious trauma all the time from our jobs, and learn in grad school and internships like how to take care of yourself. But I mean, can you add a little bit to what was in your thinking, what you were seeing at the time when you kind of approached us about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when I came in on YouTube, there was a bunch of other creators that were peers of mine. One in particular, Kaylee Elise, who inspired me. And all of a sudden she started facing a lot of personal life trauma that compounded with the subject matter, took her out of the game.
Yeah.
She was a brilliant voice, but unfortunately that voice disappeared. There's so many more cases that could have been helped if she would have been able to stay around. And she wasn't the only one. I saw a pretty typical churn of you get into this, you could do it for 4 or 5 years, and you had to move away from it because of the exposure.
Yeah.
So yeah, when I was thinking about some kind of support group, honestly, my relationship with Danielle Hallen was built on that also. We were like, hey, how do we support each other? How do we take care of each other? So yeah, I knew when I wanted to try do something like that, I needed experts there with me. And I knew immediately it was the two of you. And I'm so proud of that too. Yeah, it's definitely one of the highlights. But there's another thing that you guys helped with, and that was the Elisa Gomez case.
Oh, yes. Yes.
And the analysis that you gave us on that case inspired an investigator from a different state to swing in, help on that case, become part of her family's family. And I just heard from him yesterday. He's still working on that case.
Wow.
And we had a meeting in Minneapolis with a bunch of city council members because they reopened the case a couple of years ago. And they were trying to figure out, okay, what do you guys have? Where are we supposed to take this? And he was literally citing your information.
No way.
Wow.
Talking about you too.
Oh
So,
my gosh. I'm really moved by that. I don't even have any words, but thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. Well, and that's not the only thing. From that, we had a professor of criminology reach out to me, and a couple of years ago, he wanted to present a case to his, master's students.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, John, do you have a case that you think would fit this? And I said, yes, the Elisa Gomez case.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys were so kind. I think it was Dr. Scott in particular, came and spoke to that class. We actually presented that case to classes for a few years.
Yeah.
Oh my
and
God.
the professor told me it was.
Forgot that.
Yeah. He said, look, I've done a lot of these courses. I think the most significant thing I ever did was presenting that case
Wow.
in the way that we did it. And thank you for being a part of it. So I have to thank you guys, because none of that would have happened without your help.
It's not something that we get a piece of doing. And thank you for the opportunity. Definitely. Like we were kind of saying when we were talking to Tim earlier, if we could just go on like helping to lend our voices on other people's podcasts forever, we can do that forever. I don't know if we can do this forever, but thank you for the opportunity. And that those are the differences that you're making with the work that you do all the time. And the fact that you are doing this full time, one is heavy stuff, but we all know how to take care of ourselves. We're practicing that very well. But yeah, thanks. I'm so glad that we made that connection. Gosh, we had not met in person yet, I think, when we were on that show to talk about that case. And but just built a wonderful relationship afterwards. So
yeah,
you're one of our staples, John. And of course during Get Vocal, like all of your fun games and everything during COVID
Right.
was like just, added to the levity. So
more mental health. Yeah. Taken care of. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to be coming to LA in a few months.
Okay.
I want to see you guys. I've got,
It's going to happen. Absolutely. Absolutely.
We've got a premiere that we're doing for a new documentary, a docuseries that's coming out called Vanished. This seems to be a title in the documentaries I do. There's always a vanishing. But this one's about the Heather Elvis case.
Oh, wow.
So there's going to be a premiere. And if I can get you guys there, I'd love for you to be there. So
let us know, but we'd be happy just to hang out with you for an evening. So please send us the dates. That's awesome. I'm so glad we have something to look forward to.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, thanks for your time, John, and being here.
Got it. Happy 200, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good seeing you.
Take care. How cool. All
wow.
right.
This is a ride.
I know.
And here they are.
I put these guys last because I was like, how long is this going to take?
I got a celebration milkshake, but then I was like drinking it while I was listening. I was like, you finished the milkshake. I'm like,
What flavor milkshake is that, Bryce?
chocolate chip cookies and cream.
Oh, dang.
Well, that's what brings all the boys to the yard.
That's correct. My yard is flooded with them.
Tammy and Bryce, you guys from Hollywood Paranormal, of course. Talk about OGs of our podcast existence. I was looking back, Tammy, at our Instagram feed. And when we did our cult episode, you commented on there, like, is this that one? And because I can't remember which of us cited each other at some point, but we were kind of covering similar topics at the same time. And that's how we were born as
yes. I was watching the Buddha-filled cult. I was watching a little documentary, and it was so weird because I heard your interview. You guys did an episode about it, and I'm like, holy! They know their stuff, man. They're amazing. And we did our episode, and I was like, Bryce, you gotta listen to this podcast, and that's how we. I think we tagged you on a post too, and that's how we got like hook, line, and sinker. Oh, you're in with us.
I know. Look at this. Nearly 8 years later, we are.
I know, you're our friends.
We're tied together. Our families are friends.
Now we got to do a blood ritual.
Totally. Yeah, I think that's we got to figure out when, I don't know. Scott, tell us when Mercury's not in retrograde or there's a moon that aligns with that or something.
It's always
also like, just
what are you guys up to these days? What's new for Holly Weird Paranormal?
Oh my goodness. Well, as you guys know, I don't know if anybody has heard, but we're going to Windy City Parafest in Chicago. So there's this beautiful little paranormal convention that is happening in Chicago, Illinois. It's the first annual one. And a shout out to Frankie Everly, who is coordinating everything along with his team. They wanted to create like a convention that is not consistently made up of, no offense, just cis white male men. Like we're wearing shark necklaces. I know. He wanted something very diverse. He's like, I need people of color, people from, the LGBTQIA community, and I wanted to create a community not only of just those people, but of artists. And so in June the 13th through the 15th, he's going to have this convention, and Bryce and myself are going to head over there and lead a talk about like haunted Hollywood. It's going to be really cool.
Woo! Oh my gosh.
We'll lead the talk. I will be eating the deep dish.
No, both of us will.
Very clear.
We are going to be sharing stories of our old school and stuff.
In Chicago.
Carmen's
Do you remember when we put Bryce in the corner and made him do our slides when we did our presentation?
Nobody puts Bryce in the corner.
That's right. Luckily, my arms are long. I was able to do a little bit of both.
Bryce is like,
but if you put a cheese tray there, he'll be fine.
Right.
But we also I do not want this to slip, because this sort of harkens back to talking to Rebecca earlier. It's easy to forget how much we've actually done with you guys over the years. Like from you being at my previous apartment where we had a blast, just giggling while we recorded, and then doing Parapod. Was it Parapod?
We did Parapod, but then our live
but we
show,
also
too.
did the Heritage Square Museum, which was like, I think it was a miracle that it came off, that everybody all the attendees were so impressed. So you're our good luck charm for live performances, I think.
Yeah, our ride or dies for sure.
Yeah,
and you guys, I mean,
our ride or dies.
Again, you are two extremely good friends doing this together. And how long have you guys been podcasting now?
Almost, as long as we've been friends, almost 8 years.
Yeah. So same amount of time as us. And it's like, can you guys even imagine trying to do this alone or without the other person at this point?
No.
It's not the same without Bryce. When Bryce is on his hiatus, it was weird. It was really weird. It was like open mic night and crickets, because like I need... he adds that finishing touch in his soapbox when he brings the soapbox. We miss the Bryce soapbox, his rants and everything.
Scott and Bryce must have bought theirs at the same soapbox store.
Yeah. We go to Soapbox Warehouse for our rant stools. Yeah. But I think it's an interesting dynamic. I mean, it's kind of tale as old as time of, gay men and fabulous women pairing up. But I think, I won't speak for Bryce, but I will speak for myself, is like our process has just evolved into something that works so well. But Shiloh is actually the driver of everything, and she gets shit done in a way that I'm just not capable of. And I don't know if you guys have that dynamic. If we ever, like, if somebody came and says, oh, here, we're going to give you $1 million for your IP, I'm going to be like, yeah, she gets like 3/4 of it. Like she's been doing the lion's share.
Tammy gets all of it. I just want to be like my face on a sweatshirt, and I'm good.
Just like that with both nose.
Yeah.
Just pay me in Starbucks cards. It's fine.
That's right. Yeah. No, Tammy's the engine for sure. I get to kind of be funny color commentary, but
and also the healthy-minded skeptic. You're the best skeptic.
Every once in a while, we get a good little dose in there, but yeah.
And guinea pig when you go to these haunted locations.
Yeah, but I think that that's something in the genre in which you create. That's super important. Like the work that you've done. I just was listening to My Victorian Crimes or something like that. It's the newer podcast, really well done. And she didn't give you credit, but I felt like there was an implied credit when she said, we're not going to talk about the Winchester Mystery House because everything you've heard is completely wrong.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've learned so much from listening to you but like you do not produce a show without every single freaking receipt, which we admire because that's what we aim to do with our resources and our research. And, you know, I mean, I've had this conversation with Tammy and with both of you, actually. Like, I am a believer, but I don't, you know, my mind is open, but it's not so open that what's left of my brain falls out. Right.
Yeah.
But I think it's interesting to be open to phenomenon, whatever the source of that phenomenon is.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I think, you know, you are like us in that you will forever have material, right, for your show. You can reach into the past. Obviously, we have the kinship of really being like LA Hollywood centric as well, where we can pull stuff from that, which is never ending, but the chemistry is amazing. Yes, you know, Tammy brings the receipts. She's the person you perk up and you listen to, and then you hear like the soapbox coming out, and I'm like, I got to turn this up because I'm gonna learn something from Bryce, who is however much younger than me, and he is gonna absolutely school me and like blow me away with a perspective on something. That's why I've loved you guys so much. So I'm so glad that I could listen to your show, but the fact that we decided to meet at Dupar's that day and the rest, you know.
Oh my God, that was so fun.
The four of us and Emma Roberts and Evan Peters.
We basically all shared a table
and
together.
Bryce and I looked at each other. We were like, boy, you got to run.
I know. I was like, we need to save him. We need to get him out. I want to throw a pancake.
And that's when you had your fabulous like bouncing behavior hair and the big Viking beard. What a look.
I know, right? Gosh. Well, what again? I mean, other than the festival, you guys still, I mean, being pretty consistent with your episodes. Anything new Hollywood paranormal coming up for you guys this summer or anything?
No, not at the moment. I mean, we're just doing, you know, we're just continuing to record and trying to update our, you know, Patreon and trying to be consistent, but also try not to burn ourselves out too. And just, I know that, you know, we noticed that with a lot of podcasters out there, our friends who it's just they are consistently putting things out there and then they burn themselves out and then that's the end of it. And, you know, I always honor Bryce's schedule and like when he needs to take a break and he does the same with me. And it's like, we're both tired, you know, let's take a break. Yeah. Let's not burn ourselves out. I think that's why, you know, that was the key of like being so consistent and understanding is just understanding, you know, where we're coming from and our time and
Yeah. Well, let's please get a drink soon. We're going to have a meetup coming up this spring. So we would love to have you guys there, or we'll just plan our own thing now that
we need
2025 is here and
we need to put that out there. We need to have another collab event, something small and intimate.
We do.
For sure. 8 years. I was like,
we discussed that with From Beneath the Hollywood sign. So we'll reach out to you guys about a room that they have access to. That would be cool.
That is so awesome. Wow.
Well, thank you for making time to be here.
Of course. We love you guys.
Of course. Anything for you. Anything for you guys.
Love you guys so much.
Thanks. Have a great night. Thanks for being part of ours.
Congratulations.
Nice. Take care.
Here's 8 more years.
Oh God, no. Oh my goodness.
Jeez, what a journey. It's so easy, especially with my squirrel brain. You know, those of us that are neurodivergent on the ADHD spectrum see time and experience time in kind of a different way. And that is a little bit shocking to me. Isn't it? Like reconnect with these people of like how much intense time we spent with them, especially during the intensity of COVID, when we were all doing this, reaching out to each other electronically. It just makes me, I'm just impressed that we have such quality people in our lives. What a gift.
Like endless. I mean, I just, can scroll through who we follow and just be like, oh, I miss them. I miss their face. I mean, in different ways, especially the folks we've had here tonight. We've just connected so deeply. So with that, we thought we'd move on to some listener fan favorite quotes, episodes, comments, and we'll move into some Q&A to round out this episode. So I did ask, it's interesting because we have so many hours of content. And I was asking people, like, how do you ask someone to go back and remember, like, hey, what's your favorite quote or whatever? I mean, I can't even think of them. I know there's so many good ones, but we did get some responses, which of course are hilarious. And then I want to read some that apparently, like, I used to just post quotes on our Instagram, like the funny shit I thought you said in each episode. Maybe I was trying to like get people to be like, get to know us. Like, we aren't the psychologists with the sticks up our asses that we sound like. Scott does say something hilarious and cute all the time. But Bridget, our fellow psychologist from New Zealand, Patreon member, love. We have seen her through, I think, 2 babies now.
Unreal.
I know, our big family. But this is not our quote, but I think it was actually in a review or a comment where someone was being snarky about us, like not in a good way, in a negative way, but they called us over-credentialed smarty pantses. Or we quoted that when we like read it back. And she's like, I would totally buy this as merch.
And we both like even me being hypersensitive to bad reviews, like we both just giggled and thought like, that's a compliment. I take that as a compliment.
I know. But she said another favorite quote of yours was just to own your shit. Like, own your shit, people, whether you're talking about yourself, me, our listeners, the people that commit crimes that, we're constantly talking about. Everyone's got a little part in something, and own your shit.
Yeah, you look, and it's nothing. I appreciate that it piqued her ear or anyone's ear. We've actually gotten that several times. People saying that they like that. And, I often say to my clients that there's very little new developments in clinical treatment for developing insight. The same stuff has been around for not only hundreds of years, but thousands of years from philosophers, and own your shit can be, another way. It can be a little bit more of a practical way of saying, be mindful. Own your shit is actually a secret when you take responsibility for your role in life. And yes, I'm not saying like, no, we're not all in the same boat. I get that. But owning your shit, owning your challenges, having insight is absolutely life-changing. So I'm glad that somebody picked up on that. But then how about our nameplates for our conference table that you printed out?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I don't have those handy. So mine said, Dr. Shiloh, I'm a fucking professional underneath.
And mine said, I'm a professional know-it-all.
Professional know-it-all. Dr. Scott, professional know-it-all. Yes, those were our job titles that we put out on our tables. John, who is amazing, wealth of knowledge. We've talked about him before, who just knows everything about the vintage stuff and entertainment.
Like beyond any of my colleagues. And I have a lot of colleagues, but he is exceptional.
Yes. So he reached all the way back to episode 6, which was when we talked about therapists' depictions in entertainment. But this little back and forth where I don't know what we're talking about, but I said, I can't answer this question because I don't watch Star Trek.
Well, I knew something was wrong with you. I just knew.
And I said, okay.
Yeah, I knew something was wrong with you.
And this is so funny because John will get a kick out of this, but I went up to San Francisco on Sunday night to go to a board meeting on Monday. And at our hotel where we were having our board meeting and staying was a Star Trek convention. And I walk in the hotel and I just immediately see a guy with pointy ears. And I'm like, what is happening? And then all of a sudden, like, a panel must have let out and they were everywhere. And so here I am sitting with a bunch of cops, like it was negotiators, and we're surrounded by people painted green and people in their little Star Trek outfits. And it was pretty funny. I was like, there's something for everyone. This is what people are looking at me when I'm at some Twin Peaks festival.
Yeah.
But good times. He also commented he thought it was a behind the couch episode. So he was paraphrasing here, but basically you're like, hey, it's autumn and that makes me think of putting on my old cardigan and sipping a pumpkin spice latte. And then I called you a basic bitch.
And I said, I'm such a basic bitch because I am. Because
you owned your shit.
Well, I own my shit. I'll sometimes allow myself to feel a little bit special. You know what? We're all unique.
We're all unique, but we're all basic bitches too.
Right. So you had some quotes from Instagram, right?
I wanted to go back onto our Instagram. I pulled some, what I would do, like I would just make these posts with quotes. And I don't know if you know what this one is from. These are very early, like I'm talking first few episodes. But the quote is, and I have zero context for this, is, and this is you, Chaz Darling, which was a name that we referenced. And you said like a drag queen in Tampa. And I don't know who Chaz Darling was.
I don't even remember that. Oh my gosh.
But you pulled that out of your hat.
Drag queen in Tampa. Yeah.
Oh my God, Tampa. And then I have another one that's where you said, I don't know if this was you or me, actually. Let's get rid of that pesky murder charge and get you a job in law enforcement. So someone must have killed somebody and then gotten a job as a cop. Gosh, where did the other one go? And then one of us said, non-missionary sex. What a concept. So I don't know. Apparently back then,
I know. I think we're starting to become each other because it's really hard to tell.
I'm like, who is this?
Would have said that, and now at this point, either one of us would have.
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, and you guys, I know there's so many, and we tried for a minute. I think I posted a handful of Scott takes, some audio on our social media of Scott's hot take of the episode, but I just could not keep up with it. Like, I wish. I mean, our
I
whole
know,
is a Scott take.
It's one of the things that was really frustrating because both of us have like when we get going, we had some really good quips. And one of we love our current platform and current platform, love it.
Yeah.
But one of our previous platforms had this little thing where listeners who were listening to shows on that platform could pick their favorite quote and post it. Like it was a great little thing to have, and I'm sorry to see that go. That would have been really cool. So you going on to fan favorite episodes, Bridget, who was so helpful in helping us pick these things out, went on to say that her favorite episode was always the Patreon episode with the Tennis podcast talking about the smartest serial killers.
Yes.
That was a great conversation.
That was. So you guys, we've done crossovers with Tennis podcast. I've been on the show as a guest host several times. We still need to get you on there, Dr. Scott. I'm going to DM Nick, who couldn't be here tonight. We invited him to be on, but he couldn't make it. But they do top 10 lists that the other person has to guess. And so we had them on a Patreon episode. Eventually was, I think it was a live stream that we did, probably back on Get Vocal in those days. But Nick and I teamed up and quizzed you and his then co-host Brandon on smartest serial killers based on IQ. And so much fun. Love them.
Yeah.
Love them. But also at this point, a nice little time capsule because Brandon has since passed away. And therefore, Nick has kind of a rotation of guest hosts on the show. Wonderful show still, but there's really nothing like the days of Nick and Brandon. Like when I first started listening to them, like these guys are like the brothers I never had. It's just
incredibly sweet, smart, funny guys. Just top notch. Both of them just top notch.
Yeah. So other fan favorite episodes. So Dawn from Instagram, I giggle because there's a theme here, but she says, I really enjoyed the Disney Crimes episodes, including the Behind the Couch from 2020, because we did a follow-up. We had so many like Disney Crimes that we did a follow-up. And she said, I just discovered the podcast and Scott's anecdotes had me hooked, along with your commitment to and explanations of Disney culture. The psychology of Disney culture.
I mean, look, part of it, I mean, I think that there's actually a lot to talk about that we referred to actually without going into it. We've talked about it on that content that we've created. But there was also like, for me, one of the things that is about how it meshes our friendship together is these really amazing moments in my life and in the joining of our families that we spent going there and being kids again. Like to be able, you know, when you're going, the stress of grad school goes away when you're just allowing yourself to eat as much sugar as you want and be on rides and be silly and also enjoy watch other people enjoying themselves. So like, I get it. It's not for everybody. I mean, I really get it. But one of the funniest hate reviews, like, and it was funny because both you and Bixler thought that I was going to be really pissed off about it. Like, but you got called what cop or a cop lover or something. I don't remember what the adjective was for something cop. And I got called a Disney adult. Yep. Like she thought I would be insulted by that. Like I don't know what I actually, you know, I mean, like in all seriousness, like there is, for those of us that had childhoods that were really, you know, I wouldn't say I was impoverished, but there wasn't a lot going around. And so to be able to kind of recapture and reignite that and share it with friends, I think is actually something quite beautiful. Yes, it's a corporate entity, but it was like a really cool experience. And I kind of felt sorry. It's like, what is that about? Like projecting like a Disney adult, like I could just almost imagine that it's being spit out like that. But you know what? Everybody, you know, you do you.
Yeah, no kidding. And then Jeff from Facebook, he said, I'm a big fan of the Disney episodes. So, I mean, we had more than one person when we put out there, what's your favorite episodes, that said it was the Disney ones. You know, well, there's an intersection for everything.
Yeah, there is. And also that also is a fascinating crime about this. I mean, I'm sure they're including the Celebration residential murders in Orlando, which is just
family
horrific.
Annihilation. Yeah. So we also heard a little bit more from Bridget. She elaborated here. She says, I love the really niche episodes no one else does. Incels, body integrity, identity disorder, clergy offenders, dog shows. Remember we did a dog show episode? Yeah. Beauty pageants. The research is mind-blowing in these areas, and it's nice having it summarized. And challenging what is presented in entertainment is so important. I really enjoyed the Patreon guest who talked about hazing. And in light of the abortion bans in the US, I was really interested in infanticide and how this increases when abortion is less available. My favorite soapbox is around rape laws targeting gay sex. She says, although I've probably oversimplified this massively. And as a psychologist, I love being able to formulate also Richard Ramirez, based on the history you provided of him. It didn't make me forgive his crimes, just understand the pathway that got him there. And then I'm very proud of her very last comment here, where she says, and you brought me over to Team Intruder on the JonBenet Ramsey case. So that was a very sweet summary of a lot of what we've covered.
A lot. I'm also really happy that particular formulation works for a lot of people, because when you are an observer of this media on, I wouldn't say a superficial level, but on a base level, it's just really easy, depending on how the media is presented, to fall into this perspective that people are all good or all bad. Yeah. And they're not. People can do absolutely heinous things that they absolutely should be punished for. But let's not shut off our understanding for how people get there, so that we as a society and we as individuals endeavor to prevent that from happening. You know, we should all be thinking about it. Like if we say that we love our kids so much and we want to keep our kids safe, then let's actually do it. You know, let's actually protect our kids so that that match never gets lit to throw on the fire of the 3-footed stool metaphor that you use.
Well, and I don't know. It's just always humbling to me when we get good feedback from other mental health professionals, because just like any other profession, I think we can always kind of look at each other with like an assessment of, you know, how good are they compared to me, or, you know, do they know their stuff, or that sort of thing. And for somebody like Bridget, who's a psychologist, or the amazing social workers or psychiatric nurses, or, you know, MFTs that write in and tell us what our show has given them or meant to them, or helped them in different perspectives, is amazing. And then you can have someone that's just a fan of true crime and a novice and wants to know a little bit more. And I think it's a lot to be proud of that our show reaches that spectrum of folks. So I don't care how big our audience is. The fact that there is, you know, sort of people sprinkled all over that spectrum is what makes it really special.
Yeah, it's great. It's awesome. And we have the best audiences ever. And we just do. I mean, I don't have a lot to compare it to with other people that have, I mean, no, I guess some of our guests today, they talk about their interaction with their listeners. And I think we've just been lucky to associate with some really stellar people that has helped us keep our standards high, which has made a difference. Let's go on to, we want to do a little bit of a Q&A.
Yeah.
For the people that are still with us, thank you so much. You're just wonderful to listen
if you guys
to
have
us
questions,
sit here and stroke ourselves, but that sounded gross. Sorry, did not mean to say that. Like pat ourselves in the back. That's what I meant. If you have questions in the chat, but I'm going to answer a couple of them right now, or both of us actually will. Communicate from Instagram said, what databases do you use when researching your shows? And we use a lot. We actually use a lot of resources, a number of sources.
Yeah, tons of sources. I mean, obviously, we've kind of mentioned like books and, oh gosh, I'm so sorry. I need to update the website too on our resources. We always put a resource page there for you guys. But as far as databases go, I mean, if you can get a ResearchGate account, it's a great place to start to start throwing in some terms and seeing what journal articles come up. So many of them are accessible as a full PDF download. Yeah. Other ones you might not be able to access, but there's a button right there that says request from the author. And you're not having to like subscribe to a database that you have to pay to get something. Sometimes they'll just send you the PDF.
Let me tell you, researchers are so happy that somebody like, someone's looking at my paper, they'll send you the PDF. It's great.
Totally.
Google, Google is a part of the evil empire right now, unfortunately, but Google Scholar has been a real boon to us. The thing with any search engine, if you're not going directly to the journals page like Sage Journal or EBSCOhost. I mean, I have a ongoing membership to EBSCOhost, which gives me access to all the psych journals, which is great. I wish I had the extension of that. That's all the like law enforcement research, but I you have some of those. We have different forms of access basically, but always, always, always go past the first 5 pages on your search, because the algorithm buries some of the best stuff. And that's really unfortunate. That's just unfortunately the way everything's programmed now. So you keep searching. I think that finding stuff in media, like even listicles in places like BuzzFeed, can often be a really great springboard into further research. And then I'll just go into a hole. Like you guys should see our computer files. I mean, we are just stuffed with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of articles. And then also one of the things, if you are collating research for anything, the Google Chrome extension, which I believe is called Libsyn, I'm not sure, but there's a Google Chrome extension that takes all of your data and puts it into APA format. And you can choose all of APA format, AMA format. It's a miracle. It would have changed my life. I mean, I think about how I had to slog through doing my dissertation by hand.
Oh my God.
With all that formula. It was terrible.
Or just the MyBib that puts your resources.
That's it. MyBib.
Yeah.
MyBib.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And I just want to add real quick, Abby jumped in. It's okay that you're late, girl. Don't worry about it. But she says she loved the Britney Spears and Kanye West episodes. Very informative, as well as the new Delphi ethics episode was a good listen. And we got we're still getting feedback trickling in about that. One of our Champagne girls was just DMing me about how much she really appreciated that episode. So,
oh, great. Well, Annabelle from Instagram said, I'd be interested in how you stay safe as a forensic psych. In Australia, at least, forensic clients are not handcuffed when treated by their psychs. How do you not get attacked? I recently heard of a murderer who killed the forensic psychiatrist who had testified against him. How about families that had their kids taken away? Revenge plots. I'd be interested in forensic psych, but I don't want to die. That's a really good question. I think that we've talked about various elements of it. I will say this, I have never felt more safe than when I was working in a prison.
Yeah.
Because it is a very, very controlled environment. It is not inmates who are in a position of being high acuity. They've been there for a while. They're settled into their routine or what they call program. And there's also no cred in harming a mental health worker. Like there's a really famous and horrific tragic case here in California where a female social worker, lovely middle-aged female social worker, was murdered by an inmate who then, tried to hide her body and, was discovered very quickly. And, he got his time extended and like he got the legal ramifications. But what you don't hear a lot about is that guy got fucked up in prison because he took out somebody that inmates see generally as an advocate. You know, it's a neutral party.
It's true.
It's a neutral party.
And I found that on the outside as well, working with people post-incarceration back in the community. I'm not exaggerating when I say, like, I have seen them be incredibly protective of staff at the clinic in a way that was almost like, whoa, you don't need to go back to prison for me. Right. Like,
I've been in that position. No, you don't need to do that. No, it's fine.
We had a receptionist at my clinic that, probably told someone they needed to sign in when they didn't sign in or something. And she went out to her car and she had left her window rolled down a little bit and somebody had dumped like an ashtray in it. Right. So the guys in the group, when they found out that someone did that and we assumed that it was probably someone from the clinic, they were like, who is it? We'll find them. We were like, whoa,
I mean, there's a dynamic. I mean, that in itself, that sort of relaxed inability to mitigate or regulate their emotionality. I mean, we can say like, oh, they feel protective, but it's also like that disinhibition is part of probably why they ended up getting in trouble. Right.
No, 100%.
Annabelle went on. I mean, I want to just go back to one point that she made about, a person who unalived, I should use that term, unalived, a forensic psychiatrist who had testified against him. That certainly, thankfully, is a rare occurrence. But I would also say that there would be no difference between that forensic psychiatrist and any other paid professional that comes up on the stand and testifies. Like there are judges, it's not really talked about, but across the country, many retired judges that do high profile criminal cases actually move. They move far away from the areas where they practiced as soon as they retired. And they, because they don't want to be in the vicinity of the people that they helped put behind bars. So those things happen. Thankfully, it's very rare. I think it's an amazing career. It's not for everybody, but even as a forensic psych, we've talked about this in episodes where if you are an employee of the state or the county and you're working in a correctional setting, your client is actually your employer. Like, so there's actually limited confidentiality in a setting like that. So the person you're talking to is very well aware of that. And if you explain it well, like, hey, I want this to be a space for you, but you understand my role, right? My role here is to understand what's making you tick. And there are some people that are cold, and I don't want to victim blame at all, but like, you also need to have a bearing that is somewhat neutral, even if you're talking about things that are way over on one side of the scale. If you present it neutrally, there's less likely that you will be in danger.
just speak on working out in the community. Let's say you work for a company, a clinic, a parole office, something like that. Obviously, if you work at like a parole office or affiliated with a government agency where there's law enforcement around, it's going to be by nature a more safe place, right? They know to be on their best behavior there. There's people that can step in a clinic setting. They know that there's a possibility that like a parole agent could step in at any time. So there's a little bit of that sort of fear there, but it is really the responsibility of the clinic and the staff to make good decisions, right? Where you don't have somebody running a group by themselves when there's nobody else in the clinic, or that there's just one or two women closing up at night after that group lets out at 7:00 at night and it's dark.
Right.
And the higher risk offenders, the higher risk groups, or the more violent or contact offense oriented people are seen during the day, right? When there's a lot of people around. There's just ways that clinics put those practices into motion, but it should be a constant conversation. There are moments, I've talked about moments where I've had a client like act out in a group, throw something across the room, stare daggers at me. And I've had to tell him, I've had to kick him out. And then looking back on it, I'm like, oh, it's just me and my receptionist, who's the sweetest, most docile, adorable person in the world. But it was immediately me leaving the group, locking the door behind him, calling his parole agent, and then, going about that the rest of that night. But I also had a group of people that were very, very low risk, majority elderly. Like there's just a ton of factors you have to take into consideration.
Yeah.
But if you're ever feeling in your stomach, in your gut, like, I don't want to be left alone with this person, I don't think this is a good idea to have this group at a certain time, talk to your supervision, make that known, and they should be able to work in, making you comfortable and making sure safety is absolutely number one.
Yeah. Great advice. Another one of our listeners, Tool Girl 1999, asks, what books or other media do you have for a girl trying to overcome a toxic parent or mother? So first of all, as overused as a term as this is, I really want to hold space for anyone who's in this position. Just know that know as a clinician that I've seen this so often and in ways that make me get a perspective on my own upbringing, that I'm like, I am much more grateful for my upbringing at this stage of my life than I ever have been. And I hear what you're saying. So, there are a couple of books that I highly, highly recommend. You can get them used on Amazon. You can rent a lot of them from your local library digitally, and that goes right to your Kindle app. But the go-to is Adult Children of the Emotionally Immature. Yep. And one of the reasons I like it is because it really doesn't, even in the title, it doesn't center in on narcissism so much as like a strict diagnosis, but it gives, because we don't want to overdiagnose everybody, but, you can have traits and be completely self-centered and just be, a jackass, right?
Yeah.
So Adult Children of the Emotionally Immature, it's also not an easy read because some of what the author does is point out, hey, you have to be careful because no matter where you are right now and what you're struggling with, you may be more likely to be acting out to your loved ones in the way that you were taught to. And that hasn't stuck very well with clients at times, but I do think that there's valuable stuff in it. Another great one is, Will I Ever Be Good Enough? And then another one that I find really, really, really good is Children of the Self-Absorbed.
Oh, okay.
I think it's really great. And then there's also this fantastic Grande Dame of Toxic Malignant Narcissism. Not that she is, but she's an incredible writer. Is psychologist.
What a title.
Yeah. Psychologist Dr. Eleanor Green. She's got several books out that she's like the go-to. And really have such admiration for her. And she writes many, many answers on Quora about surviving narcissism. So, I think that you're asking a very timely question. Not, like I was saying, not all toxic parents are narcissists. sometimes an asshole is just an asshole. But
Yep.
we're living in very interesting times. And I want to throw something out to our listeners about this type of phenomenon, if I'm using the term correctly for this context, is that we're living in a time where yes, there are some really awful things going on in the world. But as far as people in Western culture starting to own their shit and looking at what's not working and taking a mirror to themselves, and then also going, wait, this is not okay. These behaviors that I've been putting up with for 25 years from toxic parents are not all right. And they're turning to the parents and they're drawing appropriate boundaries, and it's upturning society. Like, there are a lot of boomers right now that refuse to take ownership of their poor parenting skills. And I got a harsh lesson for some of maybe not our listeners, but our listeners' parents. It's like, you need to clean your shit up, or you're going to be alone in your old age, because people are coming to the realization, you don't owe anything to anyone that has treated you like crap. You just don't.
Yeah.
So take a look at those. Read Dr. Eleanor Green. I think they're really enlightening.
Yep. I don't have anything to add to that. Scott's more of an expert in that area than I am. I do want to answer Amy's question she threw into the chat way back when we started, nearly 2 hours ago. She was just wondering how we ever got connected with Bob Bruff on Truth and Justice. I'm pretty sure it was during COVID. He reached out to Tim and Lance, because remember, he was doing that thing where he had just podcasters on talking about a specific case. So I think you went on first and you talked about Scott Peterson, and then he had me on, and I ended up talking about is it Jonathan Orr, the firefighter arsonist? Because Bob Ruff's former fire captain. And I was like, this is the case I'm bringing you, buddy. Then we went on to obviously, guest a couple times on Truth and Justice on a season, and have done some live stuff together. And also one of our good friends. So, okay. So TRH Cabana 3, longtime listener from Instagram, said, have either of you had a patient discuss the podcast with you in therapy? And I was like, how dare you try and trick us into breaking confidentiality? After
as long as you de-identify, it's okay.
But, I think the stance when I read this, I was like, okay, I'm not going to confirm or deny this. And my thinking behind that is, I invite our listeners to think, like, how would you feel if you listened to the show, you were also a client of ours, and then now we're answering this question, right? So what I'm going to do is say how I would handle that, which is interesting, because sometimes we have to talk about, like, what if we run into each other in person outside of therapy with anyone? Yeah. I talk about it all the time at work, because I see people in many different capacities, not just a therapeutic setting at my job. But in this case, I would say, if you listen to the podcast, or if you've discovered the podcast, because remember we were talking about, like, is it ethical to Google your clients? They're definitely going to Google you. I will fully admit, like, I've definitely had people go, oh yeah, I Googled you before I came in here, whether or not, it's podcast related. But I would say, look, if you choose to continue to work with me as your therapist and continue to listen to the podcast, you're going to get to know me on a different level than you would some other therapist. Like, you're probably going to learn things about me personally, some views, my family, and that's your choice. And I can't choose that for you. I just need to know you're okay with it. And if anything ever comes up that you're uncomfortable with, let's talk about it. But, also we're here for whatever you're coming into this office with to work on. So I don't know, anything different or No, I don't know what you want to add to that.
The only thing that I would add is, like, it's happened a couple of times, and look, I don't think, I've had a therapist myself that was like, is really well regarded as, like, one of the best in town. And like, I'm a good therapist. And I would say I'm even, like, an exceptional therapist for some people, for very specific. I think I always say when people come in the room, please, you got to shop. Don't just stick with me. Look at other profiles, talk to people. You need to find the thing that vibes with you. But my very small private practice is made up of people that feel a connection and feel safe And if they found me through the podcast or they just happened to notice it, that quickly takes a back seat to the work.
That's awesome.
You know, because we dive in and it's about like, you know, you're also paying me money. You like, and that's very big for me, is like, this is a service. It's a service and it's a relationship. And I want you to get everything out of it that you're paying for, you know?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Nick from Tenish.
Last question.
Nick from Tenish says, yeah, where do you see LA Not So Confidential in the next year? What about the next 5 years?
The big question.
Oy. I've got some, we both have some ideas that have emerged over the past few months that would be really, really awesome if they took our project to a different level that would afford us a little bit more ease than what we're doing. And that may happen. It may not. I'm trying to manifest it, you know, lighting candles, putting on essential oils. We'll see, you know. What about you?
Yeah, no, weirdly, I think like for one of the first times in our podcast history, I don't really know. And I'm not trying to think too hard about it either. Yeah. You know, as we have outlined kind of our looking back and chatting with our friends, it seems like we've like always had a trajectory, or we've always had a focus, or like this is the next thing, the next level to do. And by this time, I mean, we've checked a lot of those off. So I kind of love that we're in a like go with the flow state. As we've mentioned recently, like just professional responsibilities have changed, you know, diversifying ourselves a little bit with some other things that we like to do. I'm not in the point where I'm like, I need to make this podcast bigger than ever, right? Like I said already, I love our audience, who they are, what it is. I just want to like talk with you, take care of our audience. Thank you so much, Catherine. She said in the chat, like how she loves how much we do interact and really like build a community with our audience. So I think that's wonderful. So I feel like that on one hand. And then like a week or two ago, I was talking to this true crime podcaster about a totally different project that had nothing to do with us. And he was like, have you guys ever considered TV adaptation? Which, yeah, I mean, we've totally been down that road. But I'm like, if you can make magic happen where this is adaptable, we're listening, but we still haven't really heard anything that has made us go, yeah, that'd be amazing. So that's where I'm at.
People don't follow through, but that's the nature of Hollywood. Is like,
oh, yeah,
we also tell them like, okay, here are the parameters. We're not retired. So we would love to do your project if you can hit these 3 things. And I think that comes to a hard stop for some people, but that's okay. You know, we'll see. We've both inhabited this particular space for this project while we've both been working multiple jobs and multiple projects. And, you know, we're taking time to rebalance our lives, which I think is good. And yeah, the last few months have made a big difference. I made a big shift in work, which is a huge adjustment and is a huge identity shift that I was not expecting. All good, but like giving birth is wonderful, but it's like painful, right? I mean, I'm assuming because I haven't.
I don't know. I had an epidural, so nobody has to be a hero in my eyes.
Okay. But our top 3 recent crime stories? Oh
no. Let's just wrap this up. We're almost 2 hours in. We just really wanted to end this with, I mean, we talked about, you know, kind of what's in the future. And I'm sorry, it's a big, I don't know. I will say, mark your calendars. If you're in LA, we're going to do a meetup Friday, April 11th, probably in downtown LA in the Arts District. I just have to reach out to the venue. I'm have in my head where it will be, but I just need to confirm. So if you guys are around, it's really just going to be a casual meetup. If we turn it into something else, if maybe we can get a little bit more tucked away space to do something a little bit more, I don't know, performative live, we'll figure that out later, but we're not setting that expectation yet. So that is, I mean, kind of it for future plans other than just rolling out our episodes. But we also wanted to take the time just to thank our amazing audience.
You know, in thanking all of you, the people who just found us, however you found us, that then went on to explore their journey on a career path like Shiloh and I took.
Yeah.
That I say it over and over again. I'm sure people are sick of hearing it. It brings me to tears. It brings me to tears that something that we have just giggled and loved to produce, like, has inspired people or given people an idea to take their career in that direction, and they're completely rocking it. I think that's wonderful. And then there's also people who have shared incredibly personal moments with us via email, because an episode that we recorded resonated so intimately and so profoundly with them, and that we had a positive impact. So many of those are intensely personal. I clearly can't share them, and it wouldn't be right, but please know, again, we're both so humbled and honored to receive those. And, Shiloh, I shared the one with you that we got this week that literally made me tear up. I was just,
oh my gosh,
so moved by it, by a recent episode. So all of you, thank you. Thank you for letting us in. That's wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't have said it better. Also, just what we've already mentioned, just the community that it's created. And, I know we joke of like, we've seen Bridget through 2 babies, like literally sent her LA Not So Confidential onesie for her child. And just year after year, right? Seeing people on the, the live stuff like this, the watch parties, like where we're all feel like we're kind of sitting there eating popcorn, having a glass of wine, watching a movie together, or the holiday parties, or live. I mean, we do not have voices at the end of the day when we go to a festival, because we're just like in it and talking to you guys about everything and just gushing about this weird shit that we all like to talk about, which is the coolest. So thank you guys so much. I think we want to do one last shout out, obviously.
Well, it's 2.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I added another one. I didn't put it on the notes, but first of all, it goes without saying, this one really does make me tear up, is our dear friend and producer, and sweetener and editor, Jason, has taken us to a completely different level with his skills. Like, it's just I've never expected to have a colleague, a creative producer that learned our voice in the process of producing this and managed to take our gobbledygook from late night sessions when we're so exhausted and red-eyed and raw voiced, and he has just turned it into a product. There are times where we've gone through something, it's 10 o'clock at night, and Shiloh and I both go, Jason, I'm so sorry, that makes no sense. Like,
we're apologizing to each other, we're apologizing to him.
Cut that last paragraph, and he will come in and he's edited into something that makes so much coherent sense. It's wonderful. So thank you, Jason. Thank you for being our friend. Thank you for being our colleague. He's a wonderful content producer himself. And last but not least, Abby Blackbird.
Aww.
Abby is just like the younger generation because she's both solidly outside my generation and Shiloh's generation, and has given us so much information on hey, and she's been so kind about it. Hey, you really should do this. This is how other shows do it. And we just would have never known. We would have never really known how to actually work a Patreon or be on Discord. So Abby, thank you for being just an intrinsic and integral part of this content creation.
And for, like we said, emails that we get, but for letting us into your life. And, you posted something recently, Abby, of a little video of you a few years ago and then now, and we've known you through a lot of stuff, and we love you and we're so proud of you. And
absolutely.
Thank you for helping out your old aunt and uncle.
Yeah.
And for going out and doing some recognizance for us. Thank you for that too. I'll keep that between us, but that's very sweet. Thank you for including her, Scott. Okay, you guys, we could be here all freaking night and you don't want to do that. But thank you for 200 plus episodes. For sure. But really just finally hitting that number was something we had to stop and savor. And thank you, Scott, for doing this with me all this time.
Words can't express.
I know. Whatever. I'll just cut it off there. All right. We'll see you next time on LA
Not So
Confidential. Bye, guys.
Bye, folks.
Okay, hang on, wait a minute. Since I'm the editor, I get to put something in here too, because I couldn't make the live the other night. Shiloh and Scott, I don't know how many of the 200 episodes I have edited for you. I think it's been more than 100. I'm pretty sure it's been more than 100. I kind of tried to look back and see where it started. Couldn't really pinpoint it. But I want you to know that it's been one of the best experiences of my life. The two of you are kind, compassionate, brilliant people, and you have been there with me through a lot of things. And you gave me a chance when I was really just starting out. And I've had such a wonderful time going on this journey with you. I admire you both so much. I love you both so much. And I am hopeful that we get 200 more at least. But know that I love you. I'm proud of you. Congratulations. 200 episodes is extraordinary. And it just goes to the people that you are, the resilience that you have, the knowledge that you share. And I'm very, very proud of you. So I love you guys. Talk to you soon. Or I'll text you. Probably today. Bye.
We sincerely thank you for spending some time with us today. LA Not So Confidential is part of the Crawlspace Media Network. Each episode is hosted, produced, and written by Dr. Scott and Dr. Shiloh. Our post-production editing and sweetening magic is handled by the multi-talented Jason Usry of Ear Cult Productions.
Our theme music, entitled Cool Vibes Film Noir, is composed and performed by the talented Kevin MacLeod. He graciously allows us to use his music via a Creative Commons Attribution license. Please check out all of Kevin's amazing work on YouTube.
All of the resources for each episode can be found on our website at la-not-so-confidential.com. You can find us on Instagram at LA Not So Podcast, on X at LA Not So Pod, and on Facebook at LA Not So Confidential. Media inquiries and bookings are scheduled at alienistentertainment@gmail.com.
Once a month, we go live on YouTube on Saturday afternoon. So pay attention to our social media announcements to join our interactive broadcast entitled Behind the Couch, where we interview guests on a number of psych, criminal justice, and true crime topics.
And lastly, we'd be honored if you joined our Patreon at patreon.com/LA Not So Podcast. With a subscription, you get an ad-free listening experience, additional content, host interaction, and you'll be the first to know about upcoming live events, social gatherings, and super cool swag.
Thanks for listening, and join us next time on LA
Not So
Confidential.